Welcome to the Bad Girls on Business, the podcast that makes business more fun so you want to do more of it. Here are your hostesses with the mostesses, Jenny Bellinger, Virginia Muskies, and Michelle Nedelec.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another super episode of the Bad Girls on Business. We're the only podcast in the industry that is safe, sane, and consensual. We are as nice, naughty, or kinky as our guests allow, and we do give them a safe word just in case the bad girls get out of hand. It's meatloaf, because we would do anything for business, but we won't do that. I'm Virginia Muskies, the referral diva, one of your hosts for today's episode. And today I'm joined by your mistress in business, Michelle Nedelec.
I'm Michelle Nedelec, your mistress in business, helping you get it up and keep it up. And of course, we're talking about revenue and profit. Glad to be here.
Yay. And Jenny B's on assignment. So we're taking it today, Michelle. We are joined today by Ysaline Rozier, and she is a former corporate project manager turned into a time management and business coach. Ysaline has learned how to transform her life from a draining corporate 9-to-5 to building a meaningful nomadic business that is helping purpose-driven female professionals convert their time into money with ease so they can get the business and the life that they want. In a limited amount of time, Ysaline has built multiple income streams in her life so she can ensure the financial future of her family and never be forced into a job that she is not passionate about. And now she's teaching every woman willing to take action on how to lead her own life and business with the right time management and the right mindset skills. So join me in welcoming Ysaline Rozier.
Hello.
Who is French, and she is in Budapest, which is really
I think people will be able to hear that I'm French, even if they don't see me, you know.
So this is really interesting, Ysaline, because the whole multiple income streams. We just recorded an episode with the three hostesses with the mostesses, and the topic was what we call business polyamory or business monogamy, and the idea is the multiple income stream versus one income stream, or multiple businesses versus single businesses. And we just had that conversation on another episode, and then here you are talking about multiple income streams and doing that. So share a little bit about the history and how you have built financial security into your future so you never get forced to get a JOB again.
So basically, the story started when I started to work. At the really beginning of my career, I was in a corporate job, but I knew and somehow I think a lot of people, at least in France, people from my generation, know that if they are not building wealth, we might not have like a retirement. I know that in the US that's a bit different, but a lot of people in France are actually counting on the state to finance their retirement. But our generation, we kind of know that this is never going to happen. So I was in this mood and saying, okay, so I need to do something in order to build my wealth, to make sure that someday when I will have a family, I will get security to do whatever I want, whenever I want. And starting being an employee, I started to put money aside and I started to invest in real estate. So one of the first things that I did at the time is like to invest in my mother's apartment, because she wanted to find something in Paris, but the prices are really crazy. At least it was like a few years ago, and I think right now it's even worse. And basically I said, okay, so I'm going to give you like extra money and you can have like an extra room. So when someday I will have some babies, you will be able to take care of your grandchildren. And from that point, I decided to do like multiple investment in real estate over time. And then after that, I met my partner. I kind of like put him into it. So we started like to create a company around that. And then we started to diversify our investment, like in I think the right word in English is liquors, in some other stuff. And when he told me, okay, so I have this job in Budapest in Hungary, like what do we do? Like, do we go? What do we do? And I say, okay, so let's do it. But for 2 years, I was thinking about like building my own business. And since I started to do that, my business became another income streams. So over the years, I have built different income streams, and I am still managing them. But the more they are getting older, I will say that, the less work that I have to do. And it's just building compound effect and compound effect and compound effect.
So it sounds like really the notion of starting this young. Part of a conversation that we just had with Jenny B is she met somebody who has 46 properties, but he's 15. like,
oh
like,
my God.
Yeah. So if you're 15 and he's paying off his first one, like the first one is hands down, it's all asset class. Like there's no debt on that one. It's really the notion of time for you is not only about the 24 hours in a day. There's more to time management that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think there is also behind all of that is like, what is your life vision? And that is tied to time, because when you know what you want to achieve in your life, at least you don't have to get clear on everything right away. But when you know when you want to head, like that's easier for you to say, okay, so I know I want to go there. I need to look at the different way to go there. And after you just pick one thing, I mean, I didn't do all of this at the same time. 1 year, one focus with one project, and the next year I focus on something else. And after, like every year, I had something new. And because I started young, I know that maybe like when I will be like 40, 50, like everything that I will build out, I will be able to do whatever I want with my life without having the fear, like saying, oh my God, I won't have money for retirement. If something is happening to me, my child are not covered. No, they will get enough, at least to be able to live, even if something is happening to me or my partner.
Awesome. So are you looking at doing this and working with people that are younger, that have the time on their hands to be able to do this, but maybe not the wherewithal? Or what are you doing with it?
So I will say that I wish I would have understood that way before. Even if I think that I started young, I think that
You and me both.
For
every time she's like, and when I'm 40 and whatever, and I'm like, oh, bitch.
Sorry, I did not meant to say that for you guys.
When I'm cute and 30 again.
So I'm like, the fact is like when we're young, at least younger, because I started around like 23, and the fact is like younger, I have the time, but I didn't have this awareness. So I would have loved to have someone telling me, oh, you should look into this, because right now you have all the free time in the world. This is your time right now to take on your life and to start doing some stuff, because you can do something, make mistake and start all over again, because you are really young. And I wish I had someone who knew all what I have been doing, because I think my process would have been faster. So what I will say to the people who are younger is like, if you find something that you like, and I mean, I didn't start loving real estate like that. I mean, I started diving into it, like just learning about it. And then I said, okay, let's do it. I know I can do it. And I just did it without thinking, oh my God, this is going to fail. This is going to be hard. I just said, okay, let's do it. And if something is happening, like we will see and we will figure it out. And that's kind of my basis for everything that is happening into my life. I pretty much know where I want to head, but I never know exactly, at least way ahead, what I'm going to do and where this is going to lead me. It's like, I have step one is going to lead me to step two, and then step two is going to lead me to step three.
I think a lot of young people don't realize how valuable time is that they do have. They may not have the experience, they may not have the money, they may not have a whole lot of things. And I know for me, I totally undervalued what that time meant. And so I think, to your point, it's hugely important to be able to understand that if they're working with somebody like you that can shrink those timelines and go through those learning curves, because that time does allow you even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it would, you still get a whole lot of valuable information from that whole growth process.
Yeah, and I think that at this age, we don't understand what is a good use of our time. I mean, okay, that's fun. We're playing to a lot of stuff. We're hanging out with friends and stuff, which is fine. This is part of life. This is what shaped us. But at some point, there are some hours where we didn't do anything, where we're just binging on social media or on TV, where we could have done something different. I mean, we didn't really have like as much stuff on TV, at least I think it was, yeah, before, but now they have a bunch of stuff to actually be distracted to. But I think like they need to understand that when you don't know what to do, try to actually increase your knowledge instead of like just doing anything.
Absolutely. So if, say, somebody is starting later, let's go with 50 something. In your experience with real estate, yeah, I'm not talking about me at all. Okay, somebody like me.
Yeah, go ahead. No worries.
When you're talking about going into real estate, because real estate's always fascinating. You feel bad about that, Jenny? Virginia? When you're looking at real estate in particular, right? Because there is a lot to it, and they're at 50, I don't see it as a lot of time to be making an 8-year mistake. So how do you look at real estate in that realm, and being able to, where do you start and what do you do to kind of condense timelines?
Okay, so I will say, so first of all, like every market is really different. So the French market is really different from the US market. So the first thing that I will tell you is like, get to know your market and how does it work. I know that in France, like people can deal two people can deal together, but you can also have some intermediates that can be like in the process and stuff like that. So the really good thing is to start, okay, so understand what is the entire process from A, B, C. What do you need to do? What are the steps that are involved? Who are some other people need to legally be involved? Because that's the case in France when you are paying a house or something like that. You have someone from the state who actually need to do like the sales. You cannot do it on your own. So understand what are the steps of this process, who needs to be actually involved. So that's the first step. The second step is like, understand how much money do you want to put into this? So, which means that, I mean, in a lot of country, like they ask you to have like some deposit. So make sure to know, okay, what is the type of deposit that I can have, and what is the type of house or apartment or investment that I can pretend to have. And from this basis, you need to understand, okay, what is the rentability? I don't know the word in English.
Okay, what is it? Tell me in French.
Rentabilité?
Rehabbing, I think. Is that like
no, let's say the profit margin.
Profit margin. Yeah. Okay.
You need to understand what is the profit margin that you want to have, whether it's for you or whether it's to do something else and just build you wealth. Because usually when you are buying an apartment which is not for you, or a house that is not for you, you want to have a certain level of profitability in order to be able to get your money back at the end of the month, but to get even more. So which means the basis that you want to have is that to have an investment which is running on itself, so you don't have to put extra money at the end of the month. But what you want even more is to get even more money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but more money on the side will be even better. So you need to find an investment and do the calculation. So you find this type of investment that fits you, and that's it. I know it's
well, and it comes back to the buy low, sell high. We got that part. But I've been following French property for a while now because, one, it fascinates me. I've always wanted to buy a castle in France.
Okay.
So that's figured I have to subscribe to the newsletter.
Genevieve, Missouri for $500,000 US, Michelle. So if you want to own a castle, there's one in bumfuck, Missouri.
I could do that. Not exactly my destination, travel destination desire. And I can't grow wisteria there, I don't think. But when it comes to, especially buying castles in France, there's certain rules, regulations about being a foreigner, being able to buy the land, the requirements for upkeep for the castles, requirements for plumbing, electricity, how many people are going. Like, there is so many things. It all reminds me of the movie The Money Pit back in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, but
the interesting thing about though, Michelle, because I've been researching this because I'm getting to a point where no, I am. I'm like getting to a point where like real estate's looking really sexy. There are a couple of things going on in the US right now, which is in the US, there are just a lot of institutional buyers buying up a lot of property. So, in the next 10 to 15 years, it's going to be very difficult to just be a homeowner because there won't be, like, we just went through this market where there were no homes available. Like, you could rent or you could rent. And the only properties that were available were properties that maybe were structurally sound, but really needed significant rehab. And unless you had the money to hire the contractors to come and do it, or you had the skill set yourself, you were pretty much like screwed. But I think at the older, like from my perspective, and Ysaline, I don't know if you work with older people, but from my perspective, at least in the US, is there are two things that you're really looking for right now. Right, like I'm jumping into the real estate market a little bit too late. But when you're getting 0.5% per year on your savings, that money should be producing 5, 6, 7, 8% and accruing value. And that's how if you're sitting on cash, then it makes a lot more sense to buy some real estate and do that, but you have to know what you're doing. And it's not going to produce a whole lot of fucking cash flow because you have one door. Like, oh, look, I have this one property that has 2 renters. Well, that's nice. It's going to kick off for you $200-300 a month, if you're lucky, after all the expenses and paying the mortgage and doing all of that. But when you're 70 and you need a place to live, you have lots of places if you keep investing in real estate, and you'll be more able to unload those properties, at least in the US. Like, so for me, I'm 58. So by investing in real estate right now over the next 12 years, let's just say I can do 3 properties a year for the next 12 years, and I end up with 36 doors on the back end, and I can get most of those paying each other off, a la Dave Ramsey, right? Like I pay this one off, and then the money I was using to pay this one, I put on this one, and then we liquidate that one. And I can get all those paid off in 15 years. Well, I'll have a $7 million portfolio that is then all that rent is now paying me, and I have a legacy. And if I need a fast infusion of cash, I'll be able to sell off a property at a much higher rate, because in the next 10 to 12 years in our market, there won't be a lot of properties. And I think in Europe, that's a big thing because there's just not a lot of properties.
And I think you're right. And the big issue that we have is like, we have kind of like this, I think we're heading toward like a bubble. So which means that the prices are so high right now that the young people who are coming to buy some home, they cannot do that. They cannot do that because all the prices, even in the countryside, after COVID, everything skyrocketed. And one of the reasons I actually start with real estate is because you exactly said it. I know that maybe in 20 years, I will be able to unload this cash and make sure that my kids are covered. If I have like multiple kids, I don't know whatever is going to happen in the next few years. But if you want, and actually I'm working with some people who are older than me. Actually, every one of my clients is older than me, to be really honest with you. We are more working on the business aspect of things. So that is that, which means that all the people who are working with me, whether they have a corporate job and they are building a business on the side, whether they are focusing 100% of the business, and the goal is to actually get them to grow their business, because you get cash faster. And you said it, in real estate, the goal is not to get cash faster, at least unless you want to actually buy something, renovate it and sell it, but which is really, really controlled by the state, because usually like they know that people who do that, they want high cash. So you might be have to pay a lot of taxes when you are doing that, or be requalified, but that's another story. But when you are doing a business and you get a lot of client and you get a sense of what you do, you get even faster cash than when you are actually doing real estate, which is a different type of investment and more long term.
So talk to me about the time management, because I know running a business, and this comes back to our conversation earlier, is when you're running a business and it's all consuming, how do you have the wherewithal to then go, oh, okay, now I need to look at properties. I need to go and, whatever it is that somebody needs to do when they start looking at the real estate side hustle.
I mean, that's just fun. which means
No, I like my sleep. I like at least 3 hours of it.
No, I mean, I'm a big sleeper. Like, trust me, I'm sleeping at least 8 to 9 hours by night. But the fact is, like, you need to understand what is really important for you. And you need to do what you love. And that's something that I learned really earlier in my life. Is like, if you do something that you love, you don't have the feelings that you are actually working. And when you are understanding that when it's come to your business or when it's come to your life, what is generating revenue for you, you use your time focusing on what you know how to do best, and everything that you are not good at or you don't want to do, because there is some stuff in my business that I don't love to do, you get the chance to hire someone to do it. And that's the same principle that I'm applying in my personal life. I have some business project in my business, some private project in my life. And when I'm working on my business, I'm focusing on my business and focusing on generating revenue. And when it comes to my personal life, there is a time where I spend time with my family, with my daughter, like where I'm not thinking about anything unless enjoying. And there is a time where we are with my partner and saying, okay, so this is already the project. What is the stuff that is coming on that? What do we want to do in our life? And every time we're kind of like brainstorming kind of the time about what we want to do. And every time this is setting up like our new goals. Every time when something is actually done and finished, we are going to the next. But we still have some stuff to do in the background. And actually why we are succeeding so well to do it is because each of us know exactly what we need to do. Each of us is in charge of something that we need to do and we love to do. And we just take care of it. This is done and we're moving forward.
Sorry about that. Forgot to unmute. This is like raw, unedited, like whatever goes wrong, we just leave it in there because you know what? Shit goes wrong and you got to clean up. So here's what I was going to say is it sounds like you take a project management approach to most everything, and that it's sort of like, okay, we're going to go, I don't know. My husband just did this remodeling project at the house, and he made a gnome garden, like with little gnome guys, and like the tree has like a face on it, and it has little gnomes like hanging in the tree. I don't know. It's very kitschy, but he just decided to do a weird thing. And so, you can do it one of two ways, right? You can be like, I'm going to do it. And you start hacking down all the weeds. And then you're like, oh, now I need wood. And you drive to Home Depot and get wood. And then you're like, oh, crap, now I need rock. And I drive to Home Depot. Or you can plan the whole thing out and kind of decide, who's going to do the shopping, who's going to do all of that. What parts are we going to do together? What parts are we going to do apart? And then you're going to get the project done. And then it actually is, it's work, but it's relationship enhancing. The same thing with business. If you're well planned out, that becomes relationship enhancing to your contributors, to your clients, to your supporters. So for me, that is terrifying. It is a skill that I've had to learn. Michelle's pretty good at it, I think. I suck a lot at it. And I have had like a lot to put in a lot of time to learn how to do it. But when it comes to the side hustle thing, so, you were talking earlier about being in corporate and figuring out the side hustle and how can I be in corporate and do the side hustle? How Gary Vaynerchuk has a thing. He's like, get a job, like get a real, like be a security guard in an apartment complex that pays you to sit there and do nothing but learn about shit that you're interested in, because you don't actually have to work. Your job is literally sit your ass here, right? So get a job where you can sit your ass down, learn what you want to do, and you can work on your side hustle while you're at work and still complete your job functions while you're there. So that's like a Gary Vaynerchuk thing. But in corporate America, like you have shit to do. Like there's stuff you have to get done, and there's always a manager looking over your shoulder. So how do you do a side hustle in corporate America?
I think it's
Or corporate France or corporate Europe or corporate Istanbul, wherever.
I mean, like the fact is, like when you are an employee, you said it, you cannot compress the time that you are spending working for your company, and you cannot do anything else than that during these working hours. So you know that these working hours, they are kind of dead to work on whatever you want to work. So you need to assess what are the remaining hours. And when it comes to the remaining hours, you need to understand, okay, what are the stuff that I want to do and what are the stuff that I should do? So which means that if you have kids, and I think a lot of women who are listening to us have kids, you know that there are a lot of stuff that you should do for your kids, and you cannot actually compress that either. So you need to understand, okay, so this is my work, this is what I need to do for my kids, and when I need to do it. And you need to assess when you have the remaining time. And when it's come to you understanding the remaining time that you have, you need to ask yourself, okay, so what do I want to accomplish? So let's say that for someone who is starting his business, who is clear on his idea, it's going to say, okay, I want to be a time management coach. Okay, where do I start? What is the first step that I need to be? So basically what I'm going to do with this person is say, okay, what are these, laying out all the steps in order to start building their business within the time frame that they have. So which means that we will start to understand, okay, so what are the steps that you do best, you do better than everyone else? Focus on that, get your first client, and when you get your first client, we will be able to actually delegate some of the stuff. But this is all about understanding the number of hours that you have and doing the right thing. After, the length of time will depend on how much faster you understand your business. I mean, how many hours do you actually have in the week? Because some women will have maybe 5 hours. Some other are going to have 10 hours. So which means that their path will be different, because some might take longer, but they will know how to use their time effectively. But the one thing that I tell over my client is when it's come to actually building a side hustle, you need to do something that you love. Because if you are not doing something that you love, you will get no motivation at all, and you will have lost your time.
Wow. Why do you think people struggle with it?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, I think people really, okay, so I could think of finding something that you love, that like that can be a real barrier to making the decision. So I'm working in corporate America. I know that this is enough. Like corporate America, a job might pay your bills, but it's never going to build you the life of your dreams, right? Because if you're in corporate America, you are either like hilarious 9 to 5. When I worked in corporate America, it was not fucking 9 to 5. It was 24 friggin' 7 whenever the boss wanted to email me, ping me, text me, call me, beat me, whatever. And the expectation was that no matter what the level of job that had to be done, that I was gonna get it done by all the deadlines that were set for me, whether that meant I was working 20 hours a day or not. And then I was on salary, which totally sucked, right? But it paid the bills. And so, you know, I did start my side hustle. I started my coaching practice while I was working that heinous job. And, you know, I figured it out, but again, I knew what I loved. I loved coaching and training, and I was willing one night a week. I lied, and I told my boss that I had to leave at 4 o'clock to go to marriage counseling.
Okay, I understand better.
Right? Yeah. You know? So like,
I think it's because like people also struggle, first of all, because they are not aware of where they spend their time. So they don't know when they could work potentially on the side hustle. So the first step will be to be aware of the time that you have. The second step will be to be clear on how you want to run your business. Do you want to, for instance, spend all your extra time on this business? Do you want to spend your extra time also on doing something else? So that will be also part of it. And the last thing is like, you need to actually think about what are you good at? Why are people coming to you? What are you helping them solve? What are you saying naturally to people that comfort them or that is helping them? You need to actually take the time to dive deep into what happened in the last few years and know what you love to do, what is your inner power, what is your guts are telling you. Because basically when it's come to time management, because I have been a project manager since the really beginning of my life, I mean, I knew. And when I thought about it, two things came to my mind. The first one was about, okay, I love to travel. Travel is really my stuff. And the second thing was, I'm super good at time management. I have always been super organized. I know how to run complex projects like in my company. I know that I know how to do that. I just wanted to have like a different angle where I wanted to be able to help people instead of helping big companies. So you need to actually look into who you are, what you do, what you enjoy, and just try it. I mean, I know a lot of people that are scared about, what if I'm trying it and this is not working? I mean, if this is not working, it means that this is not for you. And go to the next thing on your list that you think is made for you. Because the fact is, like, sometimes we can love something, but we don't want to make it like our side hustle. We just want to do it for fun. But you won't have the answer unless you are actually taking action on it and getting the feedback that this is not something for you. So my best advice to anyone who wants to find out what they are truly made for is just take action. Take action, see the feedback, and once you assess the feedback, just say, okay, I love to do that. I'm going to keep going for a while. Oh, I don't love to do that. Maybe I should try something else. And I mean, our life is all about trial and error. And we're all the time going to do that. And that's the way that we are opening all the paths that we want in our life.
So basically it boils down to, I love it. You sound like a young French female version of Gary Vaynerchuk without the brass and the F-bombs. No, seriously, I don't know. Do you watch Gary V?
I didn't watch it, but I have seen few of his video and I'm like, is that really a compliment or no?
He is. He's amazing. But put your earbuds in, man, because you don't want your baby hearing that stuff. Their first word will be Gary V's F-bomb. But yeah, no, seriously, I think that's one of the things that he talks about as well, is sort of like the thing that makes him successful is he's totally okay with failure. Like, he's totally okay with falling on his face, making an idiot of himself, being wrong and saying, "Ooh, I made a mistake." Whatever, like, he doesn't care. And so, and even, you know who else says this, Michelle? Alex Mondosian. Have you ever heard? Alex Mondosian is the father of internet marketing, right? Like, he was one of the first people to do the whole a business online. And he's like, I have failed more than you've tried. Like, I've literally failed more times than 100% of the people on the planet have actually tried, right? So I think that's what you're advocating for, is accepting that we will fail and we'll find things that we don't like, and then we don't have to keep doing them. Because I don't know about my generation, my generation was the generation that chose a career and was supposed to like stay in the career forever and get a pension. And then that got completely blown to hell because pensions went away because the world changed. And, so I was around 40, 45 when I was like, you know what? Like, I can't do this long-term because I'm never going to not grind for somebody else. And I had to learn, and I'm still learning all the ways that I like or don't like or want to or don't want to, by exploring new avenues of how can I build my business. Well, I think I'll do, I don't know how to do a Jeff Walker product launch, so I think I'll try. It turns out I don't like it. I'm doing it. I'm in the middle of one, but I don't know. If you said, if you try a Jeff Walker product launch, you will have to build your business that way for the rest of your life. Honest to God, I would close my business in January and then I would start a new one, right? If I had to, if I were forced to, because it's fine. And it's a great learning experience, hell of a list building opportunity, blah, blah, blah. I spend a lot of time alone in my closet creating content. Not my favorite thing to do.
And I think I will add to that is like people are also scared of failure or failing something, but also they get in their head. They are thinking about, oh my God, I will need to do all of that in order to achieve this. And the way that I'm thinking and my brain is wired is like, let's do step one. And once step one is done, we will see about step two. So I might have an idea because I'm laying down the plan of what might be step two. But at the end of step one, maybe I will realize that my step two that I had in my mind is not the real step two that I'm going to take. And actually, I was telling this story today, but when I give birth to my baby girl, she came out to this world 5 weeks earlier. So I was totally unprepared, didn't even think about what was going to happen, was not even ready, didn't take a single class. It was on the go. And when I realized that I had to go to the maternity, I was like, okay, so first step, I need to go down the stairs and get to my car. Once I get to my car, I'm like, okay, I have freaking 30 minutes to home in order to get to the maternity. Once I get to the maternity, I was like, okay, I need to climb the stairs. Once I climb the stairs, I'm like, I need to get to this elevator and find someone to help me because no one knows I'm coming. And once I was in the elevator, I was like, okay, I find someone who will lead me to the room and stuff like that. And I only realized I was going to give birth 10 minutes before because my brain was so wired of like taking one step at a time and not thinking, oh my God, why am I giving birth 5 weeks earlier? Something might go wrong. Or I could have gone into my head and make a lot of story about what was going to happen. And I didn't do that. I just follow my own internal process. And once one step was done, I was going to the next until everything was done.
Got it. So it's just for you, great time management is about knowing where you're going and taking the first step and then analyzing where that step took you and what's the next right decision.
Yes.
Awesome. So Ysaline, before we wrap up, I know you have something coming up that we want to get out to our listeners. So do you want to share what you are what you're promoting, and we will put that link in our show notes.
Yeah, sure. Like, so at the first week of October, starting on the 3rd of October, I'm organizing what I call the Time to Money Summit. So the Time to Money Summit will be like an online event where I will gather 30 experts, including you, to actually speak about how to convert your time into money so you can create the life and the business that you want. Because as I said in this podcast, like, you can have a lot of time or you can have just a little time in the week. You need to know what are the right action. And all the experts who will be there during an entire week will tell you exactly what you need to do, where you should start, and what you should do next to convert your time into money.
That is so awesome. And when are the dates again? October?
This is starting on October 3rd and this is finishing on October 7th.
All right. So good stuff. And we look forward to having all our peeps jump on your summit, which will be great. And finally, Michelle has our naughty questions for you. Ysaline.
Okay, go ahead.
Buckle up, girl. and
Are you
Michelle,
ready?
you may need to do some explaining here, but yeah.
All good. So when it comes to your marketing, do you prefer domination or seduction? Right. Everybody has to think that because you got to wrap your head around that for a second.
Yeah, I will say I prefer seduction.
Nice. When it comes to networking, are you more of an exhibitionist or a voyeur?
I don't know what is the second one.
Voyeur is one who prefers to watch
Oh,
somebody
yeah, okay.
engaging.
It's French. It's
I'm
a
going as a French
French
word.
word.
I'm pretty sure it means the same thing in French.
Sorry.
It's
Voyeur.
my bad French accent. Come on.
Voyeur.
No, that's me. I was an exhibitionist.
Excellent. When it comes to leadership in your business, do you prefer to be a lady dom or a power sub?
Okay, not sure.
Those ones you might not know what the words are. That's okay. So lady dominant,
Okay.
or a power sub, meaning that, well, Virginia, you explain those because
Okay,
I'm going
look.
to bastardize it badly.
Jenny and I are really fans of BDSM culture, so
Okay.
bonded like that. Okay. So dominants are the ones that create
Okay.
the experience. Submissives are the ones that enjoy the experience. Let's put
Okay.
it that. So as a boss, do you want to create it, or do you want to create it and control it, or do you want it to give you the experience that you desire, but you're not in charge?
Can I say both?
Sure, that's called a switch. That would be me. Okay, yes. She likes a little of both depending on the circumstance.
Fair enough. When it comes to your team, do you prefer to be married or have mistresses?
No, to be married.
Awesome. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think I got my answer on this one, but we'll verify. Do you prefer monogamy or polyamory?
Polyamory.
Awesome. Awesome. You've been a ton of fun. Thank you.
That's awesome. Now I got to tell you, Jenny B usually takes us out, Michelle. So this is going to be taking out could be a little interesting. So we're really glad that you showed up today to hear us have this great conversation with my new friend, Ysaline Rozier. Definitely tune into the Time and Money Summit, October 3 through 7. We will make sure that this episode gets out in time for that, Ysaline, so that everyone that wants to hop on can, and we will be happy to promote that for you as well. Dear listener, if you have not been over to badgirlsonbusiness.com to check out the beautiful website that Michelle Nedelec, your mistress in business, has concocted for you and designed for your pleasure, you need to go out there and then find all little Easter eggy things that we left for you there on that page, and subscribe, rate, review, all that amazing stuff. And you know what? Stay tuned, because there'll be another badass Bad Girls on Business episode coming your way soon.
Thank you for listening to the Bad Girls on Business podcast. Don't forget to check the show notes for any links mentioned in this episode and for additional contact information about the guest or our hostesses. If this show got you going, we'd love to hear about it when you subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Can't get enough of the direct sales dom, the referral diva, or your mistress in business? The Bad Girls have hidden their gift for you at badgirlsonbusiness.com. When you find the Easter egg, use the password BGOB to unlock your treasure chest of goodies.